Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Ambrose Blowfield back again from the Sales Mastery Company. And it is my privilege to give you an update today on ways we can be more resilient in our mindset when it comes to the world of sales. Now, if you've been interacting us with LinkedIn and other platforms in the social media space, you would have likely received a document that looks somewhere along the lines of this: practical resilience in a competitive world. Because guess what, ladies and gentlemen, the world is competitive. It was competitive when you were brought up. It is competitive in the world of sales, and it's certainly competitive in the world of business. I can tell you one thing. I remember studying international business as a bilingual degree in the UK and in France, and being told that 80% of businesses do not make it to the end of year 5 after their formation. And I thought, you know what? I'm above average in my work ethic. I'm above average in intelligence in terms of school results. You know what? I reckon I'll be one of the ones that makes the 1 in 5 that survive 5 years or more. Now, over the past 18 years of running our business, training people and coaching people globally, what I've come to learn is this: that actually that was a very optimistic view of things. And I appreciate some people close their business for very, very good reasons. Some people might even close them for health reasons. But the fact remains, the stat that shocked me the most 3 years into our business creation is the realization that in Australasia, only 8% of businesses typically make it successfully to the end of year 5. And that then suddenly became A, too late, and B, at least we were 3 of the 5 years into the process when I read that, because then suddenly your business to survive has to face facts. It is a competitive world. Also, in most westernized countries, which is where most of our customers are, Australia being number 1, New Zealand number 2, then the UK and Canada 3 and 4. Typically in those countries, we've got to understand there's 3 things you must do in business. Number 1, you must make sure that it's safe as an environment and you don't maim people coming to work every day. Number 2, you're going to collect tax on behalf of the government, be it VAT, be it fringe benefit tax, PAYE, GST, whatever taxes you've got locally. Number 3, you must trade solvently. So not only does your business have to compete, and you have to compete in sales to compete, but you've got to compete to be profitable. Therein lies one of the big challenges for a lot of people. So hopefully you've got the document in front of you right now. Let's jump to page 3. Purpose of today is to give you some practical skills to implement into yourself or into your team to develop your mindset when it comes to approaching resilience. The first thing we've got to understand is the reason why this matters most is that competition will ebb and flow from time to time, but it will never go away. So we need to roll with the punches. We need to accept the challenge, and we need to choose to step up individually and as a team. So what we're going to focus on today in particular is restored resilience. There's another definition I'll share with you on that. In fact, there's 3 types of resilience. It's useful to be aware of that. As the American Psychological Association says, resilience is the process of adapting well in the face of either A, trauma, B, threats, or C, the sources of stress. So let's think about it. In the world of sales, unless you lose a major customer that is likely going to give you a commission check to pay for your holiday next year, the chances are in sales, you're probably not going to experience the true definition or psychological definition of trauma. But the chances are in sales, you're going to have numbers 2 and 3 on that list commonly. A, sources of stress. It could be your bad behaviors, your competition, your colleagues, your manager, your marketplace, the complexity of what you do, and threats. There are threats all the time. Some of those threats come from the person next to you in terms of they're going to win favor with your manager or business owner. Mostly those threats come in the form of A, customers changing their mind, B, customers choosing to do nothing, C, your opposition. They could also come in a form of pestle threats, political threats from the government policies, economic threats from global exchange rates and global trade tariffs. It could be threats from social changes, threats from technological changes, threats from environmental changes, threats from legal changes. Whatever they happen to be, there will be threats. And again, if you're working in sales, it's not a passive role. We need to be able to observe them and find a way to move on. The other point I want to stress is some people turn out to be incredibly resilient in their personal lives and maybe not so much professionally. And likewise, some people are very, very resilient at work, especially if they've been in sales for a while, but not that resilient emotionally in their personal lives. What I'd like to believe, however, is if you're paid to train and coach in a business, and if we can teach you some skills to be more successful as a manager, as a leader, as a business owner, or better still in sales, then I would like to think that some of it will transfer into your personal life. I remember coaching and training a business long-term in Australia who looked at the risk-taking of children early on in their lives in such an area as the playground, and then starting to analyze what happens to them later in their life. And guess what? Somebody who pushes limits and takes risks in the playground tends to learn A, where the limits are, and B, how to take risks and not see them as fatal, which instantly means that as a career, they're probably going to take a few more risks. Now, does that mean they're going to fall a few times? Yes. Does it mean that they're going to stop taking risks? Probably not. But does it mean they're going to learn, grow, acquire new skills, and ultimately be promoted more quickly, make a greater difference to their friends, family, and to their colleagues, and likewise probably be paid more? Now, I'm not saying it means we need to throw children around playgrounds. What I'm saying, though, is these are habits we can form. And if you didn't take too many risks learning growing up, you're probably going to have to take some more risks right now, because it's at the edge of our comfort zones, at the limit of our stretch, where we do most of our personal growth and personal development. Now, as I mentioned before, there's 3 types of resilience. Today, we're going to focus on the third one, which is learned resilience, restored resilience. There's also natural resilience. I will comment and say most children have a phenomenal natural resilience when it comes to asking their parents for lollies, chocolate, or ice cream, or that age-old classic that children don't seem to get taught, but they naturally seem to have it. The resilience in the backseat of a car on a long journey to say, are we there yet, or are we nearly there yet? And then just repeat until they get the answer they're looking for. I would say that's quite a natural resilience, children. In fact, I read many years ago by psychological analysis of 4 and 5-year-olds in Australasia here saying that on average they get as many as 200 no's per day when asking their parents, their school teachers, their siblings, their grandparents for treats and requests for different things. And they just have a natural resilience. Now, part of that comes, and I want to stress this, because generally speaking, it takes us until the age of 11 to 13 before we're essentially fully formed. Our pride and ego is fully formed. So before that, it's easy to be natural because we don't worry about pride and ego. So that doesn't limit our beliefs. It doesn't limit our behaviors and limit our thinking. So that's worth keeping in mind. And then, of course, you've got the classic, very common in Europe, talked about adaptive resilience. And that's people who harden up and become resilient through stress, through trauma, through tough experiences. The British expression associated with adaptive resilience is, it'll be character building. Don't worry if it's painful. And what I would like you to understand, having traveled the world, been to 7 different schools, some of which were incredibly character building, may I just say, I've met people in Australasia who never left home throughout their whole schooling career, never moved around schools. They pretty much went from the junior school to the middle school to the high school, and they've got incredible character and incredible resilience. I do not believe you need to put yourself or children through pain or adaptive resilience opportunities for them to fully form resilience. But they do have to learn resilience. They'll start with some natural resilience. You'll already have it. It'll be deep down there somewhere. You had it. You probably picked up some adaptive resilience, but you don't have to force yourself to do character building opportunities. Something I want you to embrace is restored resilience or learned resilience, because all of us have access to that, regardless of what our background is. So, in terms of skill development, we know that we're going to have lots of stress, lots of competition, and lots of opportunities to win and to lose in the world of sales. So you're going to develop a bit of adaptive resilience in sales anyway. And likewise, over time, hopefully as part of the programs we teach or something that your sales manager teaches you, you're going to develop your learned skills around resilience. These are simply skills that we can develop over time. One thing I want to say also is life is about context. Sometimes those lows are there to teach you the opportunity, not just your resilience, but to teach you how to feel high when things go well. Sales should be a little bit of an emotional roller coaster with more highs than lows. But as with any roller coaster, if you've got highs, you're going to have a few lows. So it's naive to think you're not going to get knocked about every once in a while, hence learning these skills. The first and foremost thing that hopefully you've read in the workbook in front of you or off the screen right now is you need to be able to see setbacks as temporary. They are not terminal. They are not final. Even if you lose your biggest existing customer, does not mean you've lost them for life, no matter what words they say when dismissing you. Even if you miss out on the biggest ever project you picked on, This is an opportunity that you picked up, meaning you're probably going to have another one in the future. Yes, you might have to wait 12 months. Maybe you have to wait 2 years. Maybe you've got to wait 5 years. But the fact remains, you could win this customer back, or you could win a project even bigger than this. And maybe you're simply being freed up for the opportunities that are going to come down the track. There have been times in the 18 years where there's some client relationships that have put us under pressure, where we found ourselves giving more and more and more to a relationship and finding that we're getting less and less back. Eventually, it almost becomes self-inflicted abusive relationship. I'm not saying clients abuse us. I'm saying we're giving a lot more than they're getting back in terms of referrals or influence or money. And sometimes we just need to cut it off, cut the umbilical cord, let them go find someone else who wants to serve them in the way they want to be served, and move on. Thing that's funny, 2-3 years later, they invariably come back and pay the full rate, or we move on and replace them with 3 really happy customers that want us to continue to add value. Find a way through that. But the first thing to remember, that when you were a child, you knew that a knockback, such as a parent saying, no, you can't have an ice cream right now, or no, we're not there yet, you found a way to bounce back from that without an ego. So we want to make sure we can do that with ourselves fully developed. I appreciate your comments on that one. Thank you so much, Jacob, for sharing that. It's a very kind thing. You take the trouble to share that. Anyway, the next thing we've got to be clear about, to help with resilience, as I said, at the end of your comfort zones, at the edge of that is where you do most of your learning. You do need to make sure that when you're setting goals, as we know, goals need to be SMART. So not only specific and measurable, but they need to be achievable and realistic. It's really, really important that we have them achievable and realistic. Otherwise, you're going to overstretch, risking yourself breaking. So it's absolutely critical that you do that. At the same time, we've got to pat ourselves on the back for the progress we make towards our goals, so that we build resilience that comes from making progress, as opposed to wait, maybe win, maybe lose. Because that wait is quite a nerve-wracking time. It's really, really important to keep that in mind. At the same time is to remember you have developed a lot of skills to be where you are right now. So if you're in a sales role pitching on a big client, the reason why you're in a sales role pitching at a client right now is the chances are you're near ready or are ready to pitch onto this client right now. You didn't stumble across it. You didn't go from primary school suddenly pitching on $1 million contract. You went from primary school through other learning, through your career, through courses, through training, and here you are right now in this position. So trust the position that you're in. Trust the fact that you are ready or near ready right now, and therefore don't overstretch with your goals, but have confidence in the skills that you've got. You didn't just wake up one morning and here you are. You developed over a series of many, many hundreds of mornings, and then here you are. Number 4, develop obviously strong problem-solving skills. In my opinion, the 2 things that kids need to learn in this day and age is that there's a lot of jobs that are going to be created that they're going to be doing that don't necessarily exist, in which case they've got to master 2 things. 1, the ability to solve problems, which is something that Abraham Maslow talked about in his 5 levels of hierarchy of needs, saying that ultimate creative thinking is actually self-actualization, but that of course is for another day. But problem solving is something we've got to do day to day in business, in sales, and to some degree in our personal lives. And also the ability to communicate. Those are the 2 fundamental skills that everybody, not just kids, but all adults, I believe, need to master. The ability to think creatively, to problem solve, what's referred to in this day and age more commonly as critical thinking, but also to be able to get your message across to your friends, across to your family, and across to your clients. So at the end of the day, when it comes to resilience, these are learned skills. Although you would have been born with some natural resilience, and although that you might have some adaptive resilience that you learn through the school of hard knocks, and that was part of life as well, it's the restored, learned resilience by setting goals that are achievable, by patting yourself on the back by progress, by having a team around you to encourage you, by realizing at the end of the day that I've stumbled, I've fallen, I've missed out, but in that there's some gold dust, there's some lessons to be learned, and some great opportunities moving forward. Now, I've been Ambrose Blowfield, and as part of the Sales Mastery Company, we've got a world-class program called the Sales Mastery Academy. Likewise, some self-led learning online. And again, from time to time, I also work in-house with businesses. So if you have any follow-up questions from today's topic about resilience, about mindset, or ultimately around sales skills, I've written and delivered over 300 courses over the last 18 years. I'd love to be able to help your team grow. So message one of our team, flick us an email. We'd love to help. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And of course, share this video with anybody you know who needs to develop more resilience in a competitive world. Take care. Bye for now. And if you want to book in for a free follow-up, click on the link on the workbook. Hello there, Ambrose here again to say thank you for watching this video. As always, I want to implore you to take action and to share the lessons you've learned. Meanwhile, something you could do to help us in our mission to help countless and thousands of small to medium family businesses the world over to be more prosperous, be more confident, and have a greater impact in the causes they support. And that is, of course, comment, like, and subscribe to this YouTube channel and to all of our other videos. And as always, be generous and share this with others. Take action today.